Hi everyone, Average Pat here to sit to chat today about the movie Green Book. The film released on November 16th, which was a Friday this year, and it was directed by Peter Farrelly of the Farrelly brothers. Typically, the Farrelly brothers movies are usually raunchy, not exactly typical humor. They're a little bit on the darker side. However, this film, Peter seemed to embrace the culture of where it was going for, how to come across in a straight-laced manner, and the jokes that he had inside the movie are appropriate and not off-key and not cringeworthy in a serious movie that this actually came out to be. It's based on the premise of the Negro Traveler's Green Book, which was a guide back in the 60s for black people, musicians, performers, whoever needed to go through, anybody in the South, to be able to navigate through all the unfortunately racist cultures that existed at the time and how to do it safely. The guidebook advised him of hotels and things along those lines that could work and keep them safe. In this movie, Dr. Don Shirley, who's a world-class pianist, is an incredible musician. I've actually listened to some of his music online in researching this movie. He was taking a tour through the South, and I believe it was 1962. And he hired a driver whose name was Tony Lip. Lip was a nickname. Honestly, I don't want to butcher his last name by trying to pronounce it. Dr. Don Shirley was portrayed in this movie by Maharshala Ali, and Tony Lip was portrayed by Viggo Mortensen. Both of these guys did a very, very incredible performance of showing people that are set in their ways and expecting certain things and dealing with things as they come and trying to negotiate the struggles of a northern person or an educated person or a person of color going through the South, the segregated South, the racist, the hillbilly, the redneck, whatever you want to call it, just the prejudices that existed in the 60s down in the South. It starts out in a very similar but opposite, obviously, version of Driving Miss Daisy. In this one, the white gentleman is the driver, and the African-American gentleman is the person who's being driven, which in the South caused quite a stir at the time. Even in New York City, where Tony Lip was from, it caused quite a stir because at the very beginning, he's shown being very, not as accepting of people of color at the time that he probably should have been, honestly. The portrayal of the struggles of racism, honestly, in my opinion, weren't delved into far enough by Peter Farrelly in this movie, and I know that sounds really weird. The portrayals of what they show and the struggles of what they go through and the situations they arise in are very well portrayed and not overdone and not done to stuff anything down anybody's throat. It's a moment of you sympathize both ways for Viggo's character, you sympathize for Dr. Shirley's character, and you also sympathize for anybody who's inherently that foolishly racist back in the time. You feel bad for them that they don't realize how bad they actually are. And it's difficult to believe that it's not very long ago, and unfortunately some of it still exists in today's society. So this movie addresses, the struggles that Dr. Shirley overcame and had to deal with while he was on his trip, but I feel they kind of gloss over a lot of it, and they turn out making it more of a story of how Tony Lip struggles and deals with the racism and how he feels about Dr. Shirley and how he feels about himself, instead of keeping it focused on the struggle of Dr. Shirley. But overall, it was a great movie. It was very well portrayed. The soundtrack is very nice. Great music, great performances of Dr. Shirley's music and of music from the 1960s. Overall, I would have to say this movie would rate a 4 out of 5. Just like I said, I do think they could have delved a little bit more deeply into the overtones of racism that there were in the South at the time. They did portray enough of it, but I think they could have delved into the necessity of the book at the time. Again, I'd give it a 4 out of 5. It's a great movie if you really want a good story and a good feel-good movie. The history of learning behind it and listening and researching into it, listening to the soundtrack and listening to the music and the stories of the people that were involved in it is an amazing experience. So please don't forget to like my reviews if you like them at all on Facebook and on here on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. That way you don't miss out on any new reviews. I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you very much. Have a good day.